the town where people suddenly fell asleep for days. Imagine living in a town where, without warning, you could collapse into a deep sleep. For days, schools shut down, buses stopped moving, and families lived in fear that they could pass out at any moment. This is not science fiction. This is a real-life mystery that shook an entire village. It all started in 2013 in a small village in Kazakhstan called Kalachi. People suddenly began falling asleep while walking, cooking, even riding their bikes. They wouldn't wake up for 2, 3, sometimes even 6 days. At first, it just happened to a few people. Then, bam, dozens were sleeping for days. Doctors were baffled. Was it a virus? Was it something in the food? No one knew. A young woman named Saul was getting ready for work when she suddenly felt a strange pull, like an invisible force was dragging her eyelids down. She fought to stay awake, but it was no use. Soon, she was fast asleep for 2 whole days. When she finally woke up, she couldn't remember anything about the previous 2 days. It was as if someone had wiped her memory. A local man named Bekbul was driving his tractor when he, too, felt overcome by sleep. He, too, fell into a deep slumber for several days. When he awoke, he had no idea how long he'd been asleep or what had happened. Bekbulat was confused and scared. What was happening to him and everyone else? Panic spread across the town. Parents held their children tightly, afraid they would fall asleep at school and never wake up. People walking through the streets gripped each other's hands, terrified of what might happen. They looked like zombies, stumbling around in a daze. They couldn't focus on their work or their chores. They couldn't even look after themselves. Some slept for so long that they stopped shaving, and their beards grew uncontrollably. Others couldn't stop shaking. Some lost their minds. Still others developed strange rashes and sores. The whole village was in chaos. No one knew what was happening or how to stop it. Then, thankfully, doctors and scientists arrived from the capital city. They rushed to the village to investigate. The scientists tested everything they could think of: the water, the soil, the food, even the air, but nothing came back positive. The authorities were stumped. Years went by and still there was no explanation. And as the years passed, more and more people began falling victim to the mysterious sleeping sickness. Scientists returned again and again to try to figure out what was happening. And finally, after years of investigating, they made a horrifying discovery. They found out that the town sat right next to an abandoned uranium mine from Soviet times. Somehow, toxic gases, especially carbon monoxide, were seeping out of the ground and displacing the oxygen in the air. Villagers were literally being suffocated while they slept. When the level of carbon dioxide in the blood reaches a critical point, it can slow down the brain activity until it stops completely. That's exactly what happened to the villagers. Their brains shut down as if someone had hit an off switch. But why did it take so long for them to make this discovery? Well, it's because the gases were only leaking out during the night. During the day, the sun's rays helped break them down so they weren't as dangerous. But at night, they reached dangerous levels. As soon as the scientists figured out what was happening, the government quickly relocated hundreds of the most affected people to other cities. The village was practically abandoned. Today, it remains empty and silent, a haunting reminder of the sleepy plague that once struck it. Even today, people call it the Sleepy Hollow of Kazakhstan. So if you ever find yourself in a town that seems too quiet, too peaceful, remember the story of Kalachi and be careful. You never know what might be lurking beneath the surface. Now it's time for you to make a decision. Would you move to a place like this? Or if you already live there, would you dare stay in a town where people mysteriously fall into deep sleeps for days? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more amazing content. See you next time.